welcome to the sixth installment of the Big Brain Boogaloo. Now, if we remember anything about the past, it's the last Boogaloo that I was a part of caved in after the sixth episode. So let's hope that this podcast doesn't meet the same untimely fate as that one. Today, we have a very special guest who has come to join us here in Low Diamond, High Plat, all the way from the ranks of top 500 at the height of his career, even 46th. How amazing. Such power, such grandiosity, incredible, courageous, and lovely. As usual, we have our good friend Jazz, who is illustrious and sweet as ever, and Astro, who really needs to shave his fucking beard. If you don't know what I'm talking about, follow him on Twitter.
Sorry, finals.
And so today we will discuss a variety of subjects. We will talk about the state of the support heroes, and maybe even Baptiste, at the highest elo, because none of us are actually knowledgeable about this, except for our guest, who, if you would please, introduce yourself unto our friends here.
Hi, I'm Caliburr.
You did great.
Is that the anxiety?
A little bit.
No, you're doing fine.
4,300. I'm a 43. 4,300. Top 500 player. I'm really socially awkward, so it makes
You'll
me feel
fit in
better when I say that. So I'm less nervous and anxious. It actually worked.
You'll fit in perfectly.
Perfectly.
And remember, you're only talking to 109 people, so you really don't need to be too concerned.
Okay, cool.
But yeah. So
Cool.
I suppose the first thing we should talk about is I don't know. Is there any hero you want to start with, Jazz, or do we want to start with general stuff?
Yes, Jazz, please.
Why me?
I don't know.
Why? Okay.
Because you're the investigator.
Okay, fair enough. I suppose the best way I think we could start is talking about heroes in categories, so like general categories, and then go in any specific heroes if we want to.
Okay, sounds good. So I suppose that means we should start with the tanks.
Yep.
Oof.
So tanks. One of the things that we'll really be addressing with this episode is the disconnect between both the casual and the competitive player base and the different parts of the ladder. So in doing each category, we will be discussing, the differences between the different groups. So let's see. With the tanks, I think tanks right now, in at least my experience, are either really fun to play or really insufferable to play, and they're either really good or they're really meh right now, depending on the tank. That's kind of my overall analysis. That's
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of very polar.
I see. Attributed to the meta.
Oh, the meta? Well, to be honest, all tanks, except for Reinhardt, on Ilios, well, okay, I'm gonna get the obvious stuff, like, there's a map with a cliff on it, or you can get booped off of it, he's not gonna be played there. All tanks are really fine on their own map. The tanks are basically map-based.
Yes.
Like all of them are quite viable and quite playable, except kind of maybe Roadhog.
Yeah,
Because
Roadhog is the exception.
Roadhog, it feels a bit weak right now.
I'd agree with that.
He feels really weak right now, but if they were to buff Roadhog, they would definitely. I actually talked to my couple tank friends. They would agree that it would be a quad tank meta if they were to buff him.
Well, I think the biggest issue with Roadhog, though, is not necessarily what he can do with his abilities. It has to do with the fact that he's basically just a giant ult battery. Like, it's just
Yes.
The risk of basically your enemy almost always having all their ults because of Roadhog heavily outweighs his ability to get picks.
Yes, for sure.
I said this in the one of the past episodes, but it's like it's not really Roadhog himself that is a problem. It's just kind of the role that he's been placed in.
Yes.
Like the thought of a meat tank is
Meat shield.
like
He's a meat
not
shield.
thank you. Meat shield, thank you. Is not a bad idea in other games, and I don't think. But the issue is with Overwatch specifically is that like ultimates are so important and so key. So that's
Yes.
when being a meat shield is a bit problematic in the case of like you're just feeding the other team the
Especially-
ultimates that could easily like
Yeah.
kind of like go on top of one another and easily wipe out your team. And
Especially,
that's kind of where
yeah, especially when you're full HP. Like he's just straight up 600 HP, no armor, no shields, nothing.
Well, to be honest, if they were to give him any buffs within with shields, armor, he would be more considered a tank. He's a tank slash. He's okay.
He's a
technically
DPS
he's
tank hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's meant to be a tank buster for positioning other tanks.
Yeah.
Like Diva, Winston, like you have to.
He's a bodyguard.
And all. Yeah, and another problem is that Anna's so plays so frequently, even on PC or even on console and PC, that all her abilities basically
He's just
cancel
too thick.
his. Yeah, he's too thick.
Yeah,
because of the
he's negated by Anna's shit, sleep, and fucking anti. Oh my god, anti.
He's just way too thick. But
at the same time,
Hashtag give Roadhog a passive.
exactly, that's what I was just gonna say.
I would.
You see, the thing is that, like, the reason why I'm always very hesitant to suggest, like, maybe to add, like, armor or, like, some sort of shields or, like, something in the effect of, like, maybe, like, calming down his whole, like, health problem is that instantly his role in becoming a meat shield, like, kind of disintegrates.
Well, can I just?
I wouldn't suggest that at all. I would say leave him be. Like, that's the point. That's the risk you play.
Yeah,
like,
I would-
He deserves to have some situations where, like,
Exactly.
let's say he uses take a
That's-
breather.
that's-
Maybe you shouldn't get any alt charge at all from shooting him while he's taking it.
I mean, my suggestion would just to be like, have him just straight up damaging him gives like a certain percentage less ult charge, like. So it's just like he's not as much of an absolute battery.
But that's the thing. It's like that's his like one. That's kind of where I'm like in this loop of like him being a meat shield is problematic for the game because the game relies on ultimates. However, if you immediately cut that, if you like maybe half it or give him shields or like armor, whatever, it's like you instantly undercut his one weakness.
I mean, he has plenty of other
Or, like,
weaknesses.
if that makes sense.
He has plenty of other
Well, like-
weaknesses. He's short range. The hook is on a relatively long cooldown. It's easy to stun him out of his healing. He's slow. He's very large. It doesn't
He's a big
matter.
boy.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if you can't get as much ult charge off of him if it's just easy to blow him away anyways.
In a way, I feel like he's gonna go down because of the current bunker meta. Diva is actually starting to replace him. I see in my higher games and my GM games where Diva is actually being played a lot frequently with Orisa, Baptiste, and a Bastion. So, including if the shield was down and the Baptiste messed up his field, or
Yeah,
it was
the lamp.
the lamp, his little lamp was on cooldown. She could protect Bastion a bit more and make the bunker comp stronger. I think he's totally fine as it is. I know he feels like an alt battery, but that's just due to people playing his positioning incorrectly from what I see, because it's night and day from this is with any character, but from a really good Roadhog and an okay one based on their positioning from itself.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's the case in some situations, but in other situations, I feel like even like I watch a lot of Harblue, right? And like he's an incredible Roadhog, but it's practically impossible to not basically feed if you're not playing like a bunker or defensive comp, right? If you need to use Roadhog for like protecting a backline or something, you just feed. I mean, he does his job really well, but he just feeds.
I agree with that. I feel like due to the nerf that he got a while back to his 33% on his shotgun, and he got an extra bullet.
Yeah.
So he drastically changed to a flanker DPS one-shot killing machine
with 600 health.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still get a little jitters when I see a Roadhog on the field. When I'm playing Overwatch and I see a Roadhog, I'm like, I remember that so much, getting flanked from a Roadhog.
Yep.
And just one-shotting me, but yeah.
But
he gets.
I feel like Roadhog is a character that is really he's really easy to break, but he's also like, if he's not broken in certain ways, he's going to be bad, right? That's sort of how I think of him. Like, he needs the ability to be really durable and have the ability to get those hooks. But if he's just like a CC and a CC sponge and an ult battery, I mean, it's like, what's the point?
I actually think Zeke brought up a very good point in that maybe, like, instead of having like no damage, like if we have this issue of him being meat shield, it could be well worth, like the what's it called, take a breather, not taking any like ult charge during take a breather. That actually would be very handy, because then it means the Roadhog is actually like getting some bit of protection, so you can like whittle him down while he's healing himself. However, you won't gain anything from it.
Yeah, and that's also what I mean by, like, I think if it's just like a 20% passive cut, it wouldn't undermine the fact that you want to be in there soaking up damage and being a meat shield, but it also means that the enemy isn't just getting like 2 of their ults every fight basically for free because you exist.
You make a good point, I suppose, but also, like, maybe we try that first. We can test it, right? I'm sure that's easy enough.
Yes, we can test that once workshop hits.
Workshop. Ah, perfect.
We can test that once workshop hits. Anyway.
All of our theorizing needs.
I know, right?
Done. Finished.
Anyways, the tank category in general, I think the other major hero we'd want to talk about in the tank category is Reinhardt. So, Reinhardt...
the fall from grace.
Yeah, I think...
What a fall from grace.
I think the issue with Reinhardt is, first of all, he's not actually that good. He's just good compared to the other main tanks. That's something...
The two that they are there.
Yeah, that's something I've always stood by. And the other thing I would say is that he's one of those heroes where you go into comp and, everyone picks their hero, and then you just have the guy over the mic saying, all right, who's on Reinhardt duty, right? It's like, he is just so bland to play. He's like cardboard. It's, he's designed in such a way where you just stand in a place and you protect people with your barrier. And I think that's fine if you're going to be doing other things like actively, but Reinhardt a lot of the time feels not like an active character. He feels sort of like, I'm here, I'm holding up my shield, I may throw a fire strike, and I'll ult every once in a while. Like, that's really all he does.
Well, to be honest, Overwatch, ever since Overwatch launched, I haven't played Overwatch when it launched. I played Overwatch around Season 2, Season 3, around that area.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a death ball or a dive.
Yeah.
Or we had this new diversity comp of, like, but I'll get into that, like, what the meta state is now, but he's good where he, like, when he's in his range.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not. I don't debate that he's good. I mean, he is good. It's just that he's good in a bad way.
That's. Oh, you're talking about the Reinhardts who don't have their shield when 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 the enemy Reinhardt has to shatter, and you get everybody gets stunned on the ground, and your Lucio's your Lucio's already like he got caught in the wave, not even riding the.
Yeah,
Right?
like
That's like lower. That's like, I'm not saying it's like type of like that's incorrect Reinhardt play. That's what I'm just trying to say.
I mean,
if you were to play Reinhardt that incorrectly, then you deserve to get wiped.
And I think this is a theme that's going to be coming up a lot with this. Is like the idea of
things aren't fun at low elo,
or that there's that, and the idea that just because someone isn't playing a hero correctly doesn't mean that's wrong. Like if they're enjoying themselves, that's important. Kind of. That's sort of the issue.
For sure, yeah. As long as you're not in comp.
Well, yes. I think that's definitely a good point.
See, at the higher elos, we have this problem. Sometimes we have the problem of we have 5 supports
mm-hmm.
on one team.
Oh god. I wish we had that issue.
we have like a Mercy main, we have a Zenyatta main.
Yeah, I mean, that's
so foreign.
That's very foreign. Like we get into comp.
Actually, that's very common for me. I won't lie.
we get into comp. No one's in voice chat. The two people. We have 3 people. It's always Genji, Hanzo, and Reaper, and then we all stare at each other for about 20 seconds as we all decide. All right, who's on Rhine duty? Who's on healer duty? It's basically that's sort of the gist.
First come, first serve.
Well, not even.
Yeah,
not even.
Who has the faster internet connection?
it's who has the faster internet connection and who has the ability to play one of these characters or is willing to play one of these characters, right? Because
what I see at higher elos is people are willing to flex more,
mm-hmm.
but at the cost of like what's it called? Performance.
Yes.
Performance cost.
Yes. It's the same here.
I see that a lot more.
It's the same here.
I see a lot more people trying to play flex because it's a higher elo and we understand the game at a fundamental level. It's basic. There's like a lot of components getting to like top 500 and like GM and above. It's like multiple components.
Yeah. But I feel like Reinhardt is a character who he needs some sort of passive boop resistance, I think, just while his shield is up. I
think that like we should just kind of like no fear, just have him have more armor. Like just like convert 100 of those health to armor and then just watch as everyone cries collectively.
I feel like that's another thing you could do, yeah, but it's like, or you could do 250. I think that's another thing you could do.
Just a reference, he has 300 health, normal health, and 200 armor.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think you could do 250, and he'd be all right. But
200 health, 300 armor. Let's do it, Big Daddy. Show me your muscle.
Oh god. But no, I think if he just had like a 30% boop resistance while his barrier is up, I feel like that would help a lot, both in the viability category and the oh my god, I'm not having any fucking fun playing this character right now category. So yeah, he's a good character with a bad design, is what I would say.
He's actually arguably he was arguably the best balanced hero right before the boot buffs.
Yes, that's what I was just about to say. To be honest, it's more of a CC problem rather than a Reinhardt problem. I feel like
it is, but I think I've talked to you guys, but I haven't talked on air. But like, from my point of view, it's not that I hate boops or like I hate stuns, etc., etc. It's just like it's gotten to a point where we have so many boops and stuns and like different types of ways to stop a person, but not enough ways of stopping said boops and said. I mean, I think the interesting point though is that like in terms of raw numbers, I think there's 15 or something abilities that actually have CC.
I will count right now.
It's like there's actually very few, like, comparatively CC abilities in the game. It's just that CC is really good. So those characters get played a lot.
Sorry if I cut out or something.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But yeah, no, I think the tank category in general is kind of victim to that, right? It's the idea that, you know, goats is the be all and end all of evil in Overwatch, which I think is already something that is going to cause more trouble down the road. But it's
if you notice, except for Roadhog, all other tanks have means of negating the boosts.
Yes.
D.Va has her thrusters, Ursa has her halts, Winston has his jump, Hammond has his fucking tether thing. I hate Hammond.
Hammond has his entire kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just like Reinhardt can charge, but it's like with the boop changes.
Roadhog doesn't have a boop chain. It doesn't have a way of stopping boops.
Well, yes,
I guess bringing the victim down with him, but
yeah, exactly.
Not really it.
But no.
Also,
I mean,
just to let you guys know, there's 15 heroes with CC.
Yeah.
And if you count individual CC, there's like 18 to 19 abilities.
Okay.
CC capabilities.
That's actually pretty. That's not huge. That's you know.
Well, I mean, if you consider the amount of characters that are within the game, as
30.
in, like, there's only 30. There's only
Yes.
30, and there's 18. And there's only, like I said, there's only two ways to stop, really, like
That's true.
any type of like fortify and stopping, which is Orisa and Zarya.
That's true.
That's kind of where I'm coming from
That's true.
with it.
Yeah, I think the tank category suffers. I think it's one of the biggest sufferers from the divide between fun versus viable, because it's like a lot of tanks are not particularly fun unless you're playing like a comp, or like you're playing in a style where it's like, I'm gonna run in, I'm gonna, you know, just swing and, you know, just mess people up. It's like that can be fun, but it's like the viable way to play them isn't all that fun. And I think that's something that is very important in the future of the game, right? Is that even for like GM players, right? Like yourself, you know, if the game isn't fun, it can be balanced, but like if the heroes aren't fun to play, it's like, well, it's just not a game you want to play. It's a game. Right?
You could have cut out for me. Can you repeat that?
Oh, sorry. I said, like, you know, even for like top 500 players, you know, the game can be balanced, but if a lot of the heroes are just like not in of themselves like particularly enjoyable to play, the game, even just over time, becomes something you want to play less because you're not really enjoying yourself.
I don't see what you're saying, because I was a Reaper main when I first started, because I thought Reaper, he looked cool, but
yeah,
I eventually went to support because I like the sadistic idea of like I get to determine whether people die or live.
Yeah.
I have the choice. But to be honest, I'm still playing support any other way, because it's the idea that I can help enable my team.
Yes.
And I can pretty much carry from my position. I understand that some aspects of the game can be oppressive for your own character, like Sombra's when I'm playing when I was Zenyatta, but it's really up to me of getting good for me to click their head and not be baited when they throw their translocator to try to get my trans out early.
Yeah. I mean,
it's really up to that. It's more like power play mind games up in the GM. So I think this is just for me. I've been asking my friends, but I enjoy that aspect that I have to basically be a big boy and not mess up within my role. And if I do and I suffer and I lose, I deserve to have some numbers taken off of my SR.
Exactly. And that's that is exactly the mindset that makes, high ranked players so good. That's what makes them good, because they have that mindset. And I will say again, statistically though, 3K and above is, I think 89.9% of the player base is below 3K. So it's like, the issue is, I think it's important to balance the game, for the optimal, for like, really high play. But, when 89% or pretty much 90% of the player base is below 3K, I mean, at that point, you have to at least make sure they're enjoying themselves.
I actually argue this is the most diversity meta we ever been in since we were able to pick 6 Hanzos on one team.
Well, but that's just it. That's what it's like on the higher ranks. On the lower ranks, it's not.
Even then, see, the thing is, with everything up till mid-masters, you can pretty much carry within any hero you want. Well, not any.
Well,
like
99%
of the heroes, you can carry yourself up, play them how you want, basically.
Yeah.
It's really up to you. If you duel, it's really other. It's like, let's say you're a silver Zenyatta and you're playing against a Sombra who's also silver. You have to play it like a gold. Like, yeah. I know it's up to the person of what is fun. I always I'm not trying to disregard your podcast or anything. It's really down to like the people pretty much complain the game's not fun, and are the same people saying the game is dying. Well, it's actually starting to thrive. It's starting to thrive.
Well, it's thriving in the competitive scene, but again, the competitive scene is roughly, I think, 10% of the population or something. Like the
You mean like the masters and GMs and top 500, correct?
Well, I mean like more like people who are really invested in like competitive Overwatch, just in general.
The diamonds and above.
Well, not even just people who are just like they could be in like gold, but they just really care about competitive Overwatch. Like it's just something they really, it's like it's their passion, right? The thing is, like, that's only like 10% of the population. 90% of the game's population play this game to sit down with their friends and, play heroes they like.
Which is totally fine.
I suppose
that I do not. I can condone one tricking up till mid-masters.
That's fair. That's fair.
To be honest, just speaking from my observations, it's always a question of, has the game gotten worse over time, or have people lost interest? And I think it's a very interesting debate, because no game is going to be fresh and hot, the hot thing, forever. Especially in, I don't want to say it because I know I don't want to trash anyone's games, but like multiplayer especially suffer from this kind of dichotomy.
Yeah.
If you want, I'll be the disposable goat, and you can just type in. I'll just say it for you. How's that sound? But no, seriously, it's okay. I understand the game was really unfun with Goat's meta being at season 10 and onward, and it's still oppressive as fuck. But it's really Blizzard's fault for trying to cater to everybody. They were just trying to be spread too thin. Even with the Overwatch League, they're not as spread as thin now, because we're seeing a lot more content being pumped out. As of like late 2018, that's when they actually started to buckle down and see like the game's actually suffering because they're putting the resources in developers and other resources that we didn't even ask for. Like, no one even asked for creative mode. Like, I understand it's a really good thing. You can test stuff and have fun, have cool custom games, but it's something that no one asked for. I
mean, to be fair, it's the same with Overwatch League. No one asked for that.
Yeah.
And it's sucking up resources like a vacuum.
A streamer destroy another streamer. I do enjoy the spawn camping as of lately. I love that. there was some spawn camping. I don't know I forgot which two teams, but the one team was spawn camping on Eichenwald on the other team. And it was a lot of fun to just see their perspective of just getting destroyed. But Overwatch League is intended for more like Overwatch fans, like hardcore fans. Like
that's what I mean. That's precisely what I mean. It's like the vast majority of the player base doesn't care about that kind of thing, and it's like it feels for like a lot of people that the game is just they're kind of saying like, okay, whatever, you do you. Well, we're gonna work on this. They're kind of being alienated, and it's kind of what's causing a lot of people to just say like, screw it. The game isn't fun anymore. So,
I suppose you do have to look at the amount of streamers who have like stopped playing the game outright. So like Seagull is a huge example as someone I would think is a pretty like serious case of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're talking like a man who was heralded as like the face of Overwatch, but he has left. He's quit pro play, which
yeah. I mean, it was bad for his health.
It's his prerogative, and I'm not. Yeah, it's better for his health, and like, you know what? If that's what he wants to do, I will support him. But like, him outwardly saying that like Overwatch isn't fun, I think is a huge red herring. And to be honest, from his recent content, he's still not come back to Overwatch, even with all these changes. He's only kind of dipped in and out, but it's not like a huge return.
I think. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, you that's it. That's all. That's my kind of point.
Yeah, no, it's like I think the issue here is that Overwatch was marketed, and most of its player base is there for this idea that Overwatch has a hero for everyone, and it's supposed to be accessible, and it's supposed to be diverse, and you're supposed to like just have fun being you playing your character. And I think the issue is that the focus of the game has been diverged from that so quickly and so, I guess, forcefully, that it's causing this huge rift of alienation between people who really care about what's viable and want to play competitively, and the people who, are saying, it's not fun to stand here with my barrier up, or it's not fun to stand here holding down the healing button, or, it's just,
I feel like I already know which character you're already talking about, and I'll get that. We'll get that to you onto that character, because that character has been recently really, let's say, put in the spotlight due to a YouTuber and some controversy and stuff. I'm not gonna talk about the controversy, but just talk about the character. I've been seeing a lot of shifts between the PR of Blizzard. It went from, you can be whatever you want, till you can still do that. It's more casual, but as soon as they saw, I'm sure no one can confirm or deny this unless you actually you're like, you can actually pull up the official Blizzard stats from players, but they actually keep shifting their view based off what the people are saying a lot, just with the backlash and everything. With like, it's basically Blizzard is just a company that doesn't feel like, it feels like in high play and as in general, consuming the game for a long time, that they just react to what the people say right away, which any good company, right? But have you seen the developer updates? They've changed their mind multiple times. Even with the boot, like, I remember about 3 or 4 patches ago, they wanted less CC, and what did they do in their last 2 patches? They up CC. They basically made more CC.
Exactly.
I agree. I think there's no issue in like Blizzard wanting to change their mind. I don't think that's the problem. It's just like when you go from extreme to extreme, that's kind of the issue I take. I think the CC brought up is a very, very good point, because I remember that too, because I was like, oh sweet Jesus, thank you finally. I get to not be booped. a lot of the time. And then immediately afterwards, they buffed boobs to an absurd degree, and I'm cool.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks.
I take it you're a tank player, Jazz?
I'm a flex.
She plays the frog a lot.
But
I really hate when people say that. Not because it means that it's a jack of all trades, master of none. You know, but no offense to you, nothing wrong with that. Completely, I actually condone that because it sucks having a mercy main as Reinhardt and you lose a game because you can't do anything outside of that. And you picked your role right away, and you wouldn't do any better than he would. But
exactly how I flex is that I don't play every single character. I go for the rule of 2-3-2, which is 2 tanks, 3 damage, 2 supports. So that means main tank.
That's 7 characters. There's 6 characters in the team.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can't. That's the thing. You can't be a master of all of them, and I really don't pretend to be.
I mean, at least
I just think to myself.
At least you're not like me.
It covers the basis of the basics of a team comp. So, main tank, secondary tank, flanker.
Hey, what do you do if you have 4 DPS?
No, God,
Your
I
best.
cry.
Oh,
Your best.
We all do. We all do. Okay.
No, but honestly, at least you're not like me, Jazz, where
Category and meta wise.
yeah, at
Pardon?
least you're not like me, Jazz, where it's my hero pool is based on this guy's really fun to play. I really like this guy. And so I just have this all over the place hero pool of Bastion, Roadhog, Doomfist. I have Baptiste. I have, just random shit. And it's just because I like them. It's what I enjoy playing.
That's fair, man. I enjoy the characters I play, obviously, but I just put it in a tactical way, I suppose.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But anyway, should we move on to the? I think tanks have been covered enough.
Yeah.
I think damage now.
Damage.
Is the
Since
we're on the topic.
Damage.
Well, I suppose if we're going to talk about damage, we should talk about the most damaging of the damage.
Oh, yes.
May, she's evil.
Yeah, May. So, our friendly bird machine, Bastion.
Beep-bop, beep-bop.
So, Bastion is everything that I love about this game and everything I hate about it at the same time.
Those are 2 different, very strong emotions. Are you bipolar by any chance?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, cool.
That isn't what you think it is, by the way, but... Okay.
But, no, my issue with Bastion is I have 300 plus hours on the character. I know the character inside and out, and, a lot of... It's the same thing with, Ashe and Mercy, with Baptiste and Bastion. It's oh, Baptiste is a buff to Bastion, and I just sit there, I put my head in my hands, and I die. It's because it's just the game is designed and is supposed to be designed in such a way where you feel like a hero, not a sidekick. And as Bastion, I always feel like a sidekick. I have no control over what I do or what I should do, and I always...
This easily flows into the... I will talk a little bit about it. If you want, we can talk more about it later, but this easily goes into the... You're basically... Blizzard has enabled a 3 comp meta with the most diversity, being bunker, dive / DPS, comp, and goats. Goats is still OP. I feel like that people are complaining about Mercy to Ashe, and then Mercy about Ashe being a buff to Mercy, and then Baptiste being a buff to Bastion, is that we're going into a more hard countering meta, and it's more established now thanks to Baptiste enabling bunker.
Yeah.
I was actually just about to say that currently the meta is I know this is going to be a strange comparison, but do you know the Pokemon starters?
Yes.
How each one
Oh, just, fire, grass,
all
water.
of them, just in general. So
Team
how
by the way.
how fire cancels out grass, how
Yeah.
grass cancels out water, water cancels out fire. It's the same. It's that sort of meta that's going on right now,
Yes.
and that you can visibly see in both like high competitive, like normal play
Yeah.
versus Overwatch League as well. So it's actually really interesting to see.
Yeah, and I think that's excellent. But like my issue is this idea of having quote unquote half characters, right? Where they're really strong when paired with something else, but they themselves are not particularly strong. And I think it's first of all just a sort of design dead end. Like it's just sort of like, why do you have a character that requires another character to function if, you can just design a character that can, do both, but just not to like a broken degree, right? It's just there's really no
Are you
point.
complaining about Bastion that he's not as oppressive when he came out in beta with his shield?
Oh no. I didn't like
It's a joke.
I didn't like that Bastion either. In fact, it's like I don't think Bastion has ever been in a good spot because Bastion is inherently designed in a problematic way where
Yes.
he's entirely
He either bounces between fucking indestructible versus like absolute dog shit.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
And that's
to a radical degree.
and that's the issue with the character because he has no self-agency over whether he is doing well or not. That is why you cannot one-trick Bastion, at least 99% of the time, because it is entirely dependent on your team, basically.
You want to tell colorblind that?
Well, colorblind is the exception, because,
No, wait, hold on. Didn't Caliburr literally leave?
at one point, but then she came back.
They did?
Yeah. No, I mean...
I read that they left or something.
No, they came back, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But, no, I mean, the argument of, like, Colorblind was able to do it, so Bastion is fine, is, like, the same argument as, like, yeah, Fuey 500 was able to do it with Torbjorn. Was Torbjorn fine? No.
No, nothing was fine about Torbjorn.
Torbjorn was dog crap before.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And Bastion is just like pre-reworked Torbjorn, where it's like, or actually to a worse degree, because it's like Bastion
Untapped potential.
Bastion has a lot of untapped potential, but because his kit is literally like good mode, but you need an entire comp around you to function, or bad mode where you're just fat soldier, it's like this character doesn't work.
The same argument can technically be made for Reinhardt without a Zari.
Yeah, that's my point. That's what I was saying about Reinhardt before.
Yeah, that's what I know, but I have to just I would actually oppose in any touching or moving or even thinking about buffing Bastion, to be honest, because it's really now the game philosophy. Now, if you want to talk about like game philosophy, I could be all game into where we're playing Pokemon. Some types does more damage against others, and some types are neutral.
Yeah.
And there's gray lines between. I could totally agree with that, but it's really down to the game philosophy, and I see why a lot of I don't know any Bastion players right now. I can think off the top of my head who I play with or GM, but yeah, it's really more like people not liking where the game is going, and so they're feeling isolated when Blizzard do something else.
Yeah, that's part of it, but on the other hand, you said it yourself yesterday. I asked you, why is Bastion used, with relative, frequency in Overwatch League, but like basically never in GM. And you said it's because he's just an overall burden. Like, he's a burden to play and he's a burden to play with. And I think that when you have a character that has that issue, you immediately have to look at the character and in like review, is this design working? And I don't, and, you know, I would say right now that you say, you know, I want to buff Bastion. I don't want to buff Bastion because Bastion doesn't work. I want to, you know, he needs a rework of some sort to actually function, because if he doesn't get a rework, he's just going to stay, you know, in this space where he's either really good or really bad, and there's no way to go in between. And he's not fun to have around.
I would say that the same is sort of true for Brig. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Sure, she's really fucking OP, but like also like the fun part about playing her is being able to 1v1 anybody, and like that's not a good thing. That's why everybody hates Mei, because Mei is broken on paper. Like, she's literally unstoppable on paper. Like, everything about her kit is ridiculous and overtuned. But then in practice, it's like, yeah, like she's never played, and then only when she is do you suffer greatly, right?
Exactly. That's Bastion, but like to even more of a degree, because Bastion on paper isn't even that broken.
Wouldn't you agree that it's not really the idea of Bastion not being fun to play outside of bunker comps and people don't want to deal with them? It's more of the philosophy that the game's moving in a different direction and people don't like where it's going?
I mean, I don't think that the philosophy is changing. I think that's the issue. In fact, I think the fact that the philosophy isn't changing is precisely the issue, because, you know, you look at these characters like Sim and Torb, where, you know, Blizzard was like, okay, fine, you know, we cave, people aren't enjoying them, you know, they only use them on defense, but people also want to use them on attack because they like the hero, so we'll rework them. The fact that they didn't do that for Bastion was honestly such a kick in the face, because, you know, it was the three of them always were like very similar in that way, but Bastion oftentimes was the only one that out of the three that couldn't function alone to any degree. And so that's sort of the part that really gets me, because I understand that it's a team-based game, but a character that isn't usable outside of very, you know, high levels of teamwork is a character that, first of all, isn't going to work below, you know, a certain rank, and is going to be clunky and, you know, a burden above a certain rank. And there's really no place where he's a good design.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I think Zeke will agree with me on this, but like, do you guys remember like Symmetra's all of her iterations? So like 1. So like
I played in the beta. I remember
vaguely.
I'm going to say this, right? Like, I definitely had I've never had not fun with Symmetra, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, arguably with 1. Like her first iteration,
it was awful.
Very, very arguable there. But like definitely her second and her current iteration, I've never had not fun on playing her. Like, even though she was weak, it didn't matter because she was a lot of fun.
And that's exactly the point, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, is that like Bastion has gone through several iterations himself.
Actually, Bastion has gone through. Bastion has actually been barely changed at all. He's had the least changes except for Tracer since launch.
What I mean by like is like Shield gone, that kind of left. So in beta. Then he also had that Ironclad thing.
Ironclad.
So technically he's had
3 iterations.
So like if 3, yeah, roughly. So, but from what you have said, and also from talking with other Bastion mains, all 5 of them.
Yeah, all 5 of us.
Bastion mains exist?
Yeah. Sorry.
Unfortunately, yes.
We exist. We just exist in the underbellies of the Overwatch community, suffering quietly.
No, there's literally like 5 of you, and
there's like
you guys
5.
You guys like make multiple accounts to make it look like people play Bastion.
Yeah, pretty much. But Jazz,
Yeah.
continue on. What were you saying?
But from what I've heard from all 5 people, is that Bastion suffered from the opposite problem, where he was fun in his first iteration. Not really between like the shield and the ironclad, like somewhere in between there, he had like this fun little sweet spot.
Mhm.
But like ever since then,
When
he
you
hasn't
had an
really
average time to kill of 1/8 of a second for
Yeah.
every single hero.
Exactly.
been...
Oh,
When you
Jesus
could just
Christ.
erase people from existence
Yeah.
for no cost.
Yeah,
Oh.
Mercy was I gotta admit, Mercy was all.
was what? Sorry.
Yeah, dude, she
It was
was
that three-
OP.
Oh yeah, admittedly yes.
After the rework? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But anyway,
And I think
we'll get to
people
Mercy
are
one
just-
second, but Jazz, what were you saying?
But what I was kind of getting at is that, like, you know, what was I going to say? Like, I suppose it's like, you know, is it possible? Like, here's like we all know that like he was a bit too strong back then,
Like after the
Obviously.
rework? Yeah, he was. He was way too strong.
but kind of what I'm kind of getting at is that, like, you know, I don't know if they like that's kind of what I was trying to say is that like his inherent design is a flaw in
Yeah.
that way. Like Symmetro has always been kind of fun because of her like overall design
Yeah.
and like her overall purpose.
Yep.
Bastion really can't because of the same issues, I suppose.
Yes.
Is what I'm trying to
Bastion can neither be truly ever good nor fun because of his design. Because, you know, he can be played in Overwatch League on a single map, on a single mode, you know, all you want. But even then, that doesn't mean the character's good. That means the character has been players have found a way where you can basically, I guess you could say scavenge this character in such a way where he becomes viable when put in a very specific situation with a very specific team comp, right? And that's the issue, because it's like at that point it's not even a character; it's a team composition.
That's where everybody's just saying, like I said multiple times, or Blizzard just is moving towards. I feel like Blizzard's moving more towards that type of philosophy where the game could be more, the heroes could be more map based, because you would see bunker, first point Junkertown, or what.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean on Paris, but I mean, you know, being map based is fine. I have no problem with being map based. The issue is when the character requires an entire team comp with, you know, all this communication on a very specific point of a single map where there's really no flexibility with how you can play them. That's not a good character. That's just like you basically made a you made a tool. You didn't make a character. You made like a sidekick. It's
True.
But
Yeah.
So that's the issue with Bastion. That's why I think, you know, people like Xavi and I are rallying to get this character reworked after so long.
To be honest, perspective, I don't play DPS. I play Bastion just because some guy pissed
He's
me
a
off
support.
in the earlier match. Basically, I was doing it to troll him, but
Bastion's
I
support.
he's not so
confirmed.
He's-
GM
He
confirmed.
practically
Bastion's
is.
support.
He practically is.
I mean, he's
Emotional.
Yeah, I mean, he's an actual character, and he can erase any character. Besides jokes, I don't see any point in really moving towards any rework or buff. Just moving more towards like every hero just becomes part of the tool, and we're all playing a game where everything's balanced based off of what point and what map.
Because
I could definitely see that
well, I
going
think
forward with Blizzard.
I have no
Thanks to Baptiste.
I have no issue with balancing around points on maps and stuff like that. The issue is Bastion is not a tool on his own. Or Bastion's not a tool on his own. The other characters are. And you know, you have to consider that in lower ranks, you know, people are also very concerned about, like, you know, am I having fun doing things that I enjoy with characters I like playing, right? And, you know, with Bastion, even at the highest rank, he is so inflexible that, as you said
Did you
yourself, what?
Oh no, I thought you died. You just cut out for a minute.
Oh,
and I
sorry.
thought you died.
He's so inflexible, basically, that even like the highest ranked players are saying, yeah, he's kind of a drag. And that's why I say that even for the highest ranked players, what's the worst damage you could do with a rework? Like, it would, you know, basically...
A rework that drastically changes everything.
Oh, I wouldn't want to drastically change him. I'd want to make him... I wouldn't want him to get, like, completely new abilities. I'd want to rearrange some things and change some mechanics. It's just like... His reliance on Sentry is so unhealthy because it makes it so that he's only capable of really one job, and it's like Zenyatta's the opposite, right? You pick Zenyatta for Discord Orb, but Zenyatta can do different things. He's not just Discord Orb bot. Bastion doesn't have that.
Even his ult isn't worth it.
No, his ult is literally worse than Sentry mode, and that's saying something. Because it actually sacrifices damage. It's literally a mobility tool, and that's why I think it should be his E ability. It's like, he needs to be able to get to high ground anyways. But that's sort of my issue with Bastion. I think the last thing we should talk about here then is Mercy. So.
Oh no.
Okay. Before we go into Mercy, maybe we should just talk about general supports first, because I feel like Mercy's going to take like 5 years.
Well,
yeah.
How much time do you have? How much time do you have, Caliburr?
I got a good 30 minutes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Okay, so what are the general thoughts and feelings on the support hero?
It's actually in the best state it's ever been.
Yes.
Really?
I would say that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Before you guys like kill me, stab me, and put me on the altar for your movement or whatever, it's really because it's really down to what the team needs. Every character is pretty much played. Sometimes Mercy, if you want to enable with DPS comps or dive comps, if they're 2-2-2, and she's really good with that, and especially enabled by Baptiste also enables her when he's doing his immortality field, because that really helps I was telling Zach yesterday that when we start taking a whole bunch of ults and my Baptiste drops his field down, I know automatically to go on a Valkyrie, start healing everybody up while he's healing everybody up, and we get everybody up, and then we start initiating on our own with our counter attack. The Baptiste is the character I played a couple times. I gotta admit, I don't want to learn a whole new layer and whole new character, because there's another layer to the game. I was always bragging that I know how to play every support character up until Baptiste, but it's really fun. It's really down to, you can pretty much play what you want with supports and everything. And for the longest time, thanks to poor Blizzard philosophy, it was just the supports determined what was played, what characters were good and what characters were not good.
Yeah,
and it was actually
it's still the case, kind of.
Baptiste. I keep saying Baptiste, but I really do feel like he really does enable a more range where we're not stuck to supports determine the meta.
Yeah.
Even though they pretty much do, but they're not. They pretty much do it less. That's what I meant to say.
Yes. I'd say the current state of the support category is as such, right? Basically, they're all balanced, right? There's none of them that are just way out of whack with balance. But
except for Break, she fell out of under the radar. She fell under the radar because of the three comps that are playing the Pokemon Jasmine.
Yeah.
The Pokemon thing. Yeah, she fell under the radar. She's definitely still impressive, and a lot of the players that I talk to who play Brig, and when I play Brig, I don't, be honest, it's free SR. There's no shame in that. Like, you can go ahead and say I'm immoral, but it's free SR. It's Blizzard's fault for making a broken character. That's the only support I would say that's really impressive.
I wouldn't even say that. I have no issues with her anymore. I have, like, literally 0 issues. If anything, she feels weak and kind of not very rewarding to play anymore. That's my experience. I know that Diego and Zek have had a similar issue.
Yeah, she's not the fire thing at low elo. For sure at high elo, though, because of goats, she's still good.
Yeah, she's kind of trash.
The players, I'm not shaming anybody. I feel like the players who say that are the players who just who accidentally use their stun on cooldown and then get half their shield taken away before they're even close to the duel they're trying to take.
Probably though, like Brig, the thing about her is that she just doesn't do anything when you don't have that fully coordinated, fully trained team. Like when you rally, like
that's the best issue.
What do you mean? If you want to play less Healy with Lucio or just even Brig Mercy, she'll still stun the flankers. She'll protect the backline. So she was made. Good job, Blizzard, for fucking that up. I can admit they messed that up, but she can also set up for tank. What was it? What the fuck? Stunning. You're basically running up to Reinhardt or Winston and stunning them, and to draw focus fire towards that target.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I'm just gonna add this. I'm just gonna add this in really, really quickly because I typed it in and I just curious. On Grandmaster in all 3 different platforms, so PC, PS4, and Xbox, Brig is actually pulling pretty low on all of them. The highest is on PC with a 1.88% pick rate, and the rest are pretty low bottom.
Would you look at the time frame?
This is this month.
Yeah, she's actually only slightly above like Bastion and stuff. Like, well, actually, it's more than double, but she's in the same general area. Are we looking at what?
On last 3 months, it's also kind of the same, except on PC. Like I said, she kind of rises up in PC, but not really in both console and.
I'm seeing. Yeah,
I just thought I should throw that out there.
She is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th. She's the 9th least picked character in GM.
Oof. Yeah, but I
it's just the topic.
It's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But I'm telling you from what I see, this.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm not gonna argue what the statistics even though you're using Omnic Meta, right?
I'm looking at both Omnic Meta and also on
Overbuff. Yeah, that's what I have. I have both.
They're both showing the same kind of gist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, but I would still say reworker just because.
Oh yeah.
If
absolutely.
You look at the thing of ones in close range, she still oppresses a fuck.
You want to know what's funny? You want to know what's really funny? We'll loop this all the way back around. She has the same issue as Bastion, and that's why she needs a rework.
Yeah.
It never ends. It never ends.
Yeah,
it does not.
Yeah. So we'll get to Mercy, I guess. So.
Oh wait! Before we do, can I just ask?
Yeah.
What are your opinion? What are our lovely guests' opinions on how exactly Brig should be reworked? Because I have my own opinions.
That's actually. Thank you for reminding me, because Zavi wanted me to ask him a similar question.
Oh, perfect! Great minds think alike.
Yes.
Oh no. Oh, okay. I'm really put on the spotlight here, but I don't care. To be honest, I feel like she should be a support that stuns and take away that she should have a stunning ability and not really a shield. I would make her less of a tank and more into
That's
Hmm.
kind of spicy.
That's-
So you're asking her to take away the shield.
Yes, because
You don't need to take it away. If you reduce its health by 100, it'll basically be obsolete anyway.
Yeah, I think it's more of a. I think you just need it more for like the shield bash and like stopping poke damage.
Interesting.
That's more.
seconds.
That's more
tell
just
me,
me.
tell me why. Well, tell me which is more fair. You having a mobile shield that is not that big, that regens in 2 seconds after breaking it, or a bubble that has 900 shield and that you can only cast it 12 seconds. Yeah, that's why I would take the shield away.
I'd say it depends.
That's true, but also Blizzard's not going to remove it because she is literally a shield maiden. It's a part of her
that's
identity.
that's.
I can see them
that's
reducing
that's
the health
interesting.
again.
For Rezzing, they almost completely took that ability away. So
I mean, but that's why they're not, and that's why
Yeah,
she's problematic
specifically
right now.
Didn't they specifically say that, like, with the case of Mercy, just really quickly before we get on to it, that
Oof.
the reason why they didn't get rid of Rez is because it's so integral to her identity, and
Exactly.
They
That's why.
want to keep it as long as they could.
Wait, who said this?
Jeff.
Jeff himself,
Jeff Kaplan himself.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
the man, the myth, the legend.
Even though I look more towards the devil himself, Jeff Goodman, for this sort of information, but yeah, I mean, so I'm just gonna ask you, Caliburr, the question my friend Zavi sent me.
Okay.
She says,
This. So
sorry. Oh yeah, I'd love to get their insight on rework ideas being made for heroes like Mercy, Bastion, Symmetra, and I'll add Brig because that's another thing. Like their thoughts on people making versions of Mercy with mass res, reworked ideas to Bastion and Sim, etc.
Okay, that's a lot of questions. Can we break it down to small pieces?
I'd love to get their insight on rework ideas being made for these characters, basically.
So the idea for Bastion, I really feel like he pretty much is okay in Grandmaster in top 500, just because that he's more enabled with the comp and its Pokemon up there. I choose the oppressive fire goats type. I choose the oppressive bunker water type of the Bastion to beat that, and I beat the grass dive comp. I wouldn't rework Bastion in any way.
Well, I mean,
that's fine where he is.
First of all, I would note that with the rework I would want to do, it wouldn't make him bad in bunker. It would just make it so that he could do other things. But we'll just continue with this question.
Yeah. Who else did you want me to rework?
Mercy, Symmetra, and you already said what you think of Brig.
Don't touch my Symmetra.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Sim's alright.
I don't really see any. I see it like every so often in my games. Even then, there's a giant teleporter behind the enemy team, and it's quite clear what she's trying to do. And it's really easy to counter because I love seeing Symmetra who pops out. I sleep her, I call it out with my Zenyatta, and we just kill her. And we just start to kill. We punish the enemy team.
What about TP bombs? The turret bombs. What?
TP bomb is really weak.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It's not a viable. It's a waste of turrets, to be honest, because you're dealing with a huge kind of object that's glowing, and like everyone can see.
That's kind of why I think it needs to be faster, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down for a faster teleport.
No one does that. Like no one outside of Kefri, Emong, Gel Adelaide, even Jeff's level does Diva Bomb, teleporter type.
Oh, bomb teleport.
We're not talking about Diva Bomb. No, we're talking about where Symmetra places all three of her turrets on the teleporter and then teleports them somewhere, and it just erases a support or something.
Oh no, it's quite clear. Like you hear it in your headphones. So a good I'll give a good tip. I learned this along the way climbing up. Just turn off game music completely, and you'll hear Overwatch. You'll hear McCree with his bells and everything, his Roadhog and his elephant steps and everything.
His elephant steps.
But you
thick steps.
It telegraphs, like with Sombra coming out of Cloak.
Yeah.
you could hear it. She'd be like, "Hello, I'm gonna kill you."
That's actually a
bitch."
good tip. I'll try that.
Yeah, take off your game music all the way down, like "Welcome to Nobami,"
Just welcome to Mabani.
Like that music.
So what do you think? You think there needs to be a third sim rework or no? You think there just needs to be number changes?
Oh
Okay.
god.
She's fine.
All right.
She's fine.
Oh thank God.
Then we get
to be honest.
Then we get to Mercy, and this one is more specific.
Okay.
She asks how you feel about so many people using the workshop tool now to make mass res, because it's becoming it's rather surprising for even she and I just how many people actually want the ability back.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
It is. I do get, like, it's been talked about over the recent months.
Especially the Immortality field.
Due to an announcement made back in December that they want something to change her and everything, but I feel like she would be only enabling goats. It would be in a goat apocalypse with her in it.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, you could say the same thing about Baptiste then.
Yeah, we do. He's not really that good when playing with goats, as you see it. He, like, his windows are really quite clear. When he uses that field, everybody's fucked.
And I think that's the big argument with mass res is, like, Immortality field is almost better than mass res ever was. Like, even statistically, back in the day, mass res was pretty weak. It was only used to get 1 or 2 people up, and like the 5-man reses were extraordinarily rare.
Until the immortality.
Until the invulnerability buff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but till how I feel with, like, mass res and workshop, I would totally be for a buff to Mercy, a little buff. She's totally fine right now where she is. She could use a small buff. That's all I would just say. I wouldn't say rework her or anything. I would just do something to, like, make her healing to up to 55 or 60, and then, or give her like 30-40% more damage boost, and she'll be a lot more.
Oh my god, that's you don't want to touch damage boost.
No, don't touch damage boost. Oh god.
Yeah, I remember they patched a 50% damage boost right away. I remember that quite clear.
But
it was way too much. I think that CHPS could maybe, like, it wouldn't make her fun to play again, but it'll certainly fix a lot of her number problems.
Yeah, and that's the big issue with Mercy. It's the issue with Mercy is much more related to she's not very fun to play.
Oh, she is definitely fun to play when I do play her. I like to go on a spree and quick play sometimes of just playing Mercy. Sometimes I like to do that, but
I mean, but yeah, that's again more the fact that you play.
It goes into the argument of people holding on to the nostalgia of being able to enable another team from, like, and being enable the team for, like, dying basically, and the people who complain against it are the people who use barrage, attack visor, and nano boost, and
But that's bad. That's bad ult management, and that's why I think it was a good punishment for that. If you,
that's true. There is sort of no response to bad ult management. Like, if you look at Ghost,
it was really oppressive.
Yeah.
Even when I was playing another support, I didn't feel like it was kind of okay. Okay for at the same time, the argument could be made that your Reinhardt
was sorry, what? You cut out there.
And he completely missed. Oh no, you can't revive that. Never mind. He just charged into the enemy team and killed himself. And the Zarya, they were coordinating that, and they both died.
Mm-hmm.
That could also be the argument that it's good for that, but it's outside of that. I feel like people are just kind of hanging on to the old idea of. I would suggest maybe talking to a high-ranked Mercy player or something, but holding on to the idea of, like, they like the oppressiveness how she was with oppressiveness. Oh yeah, with her mass res, and then when she got reworked, she was even more oppressive. So
Oh
they're hanging
God.
on to those ideas.
I'd note though
And-
that that before her rework, she was actually never that good. It was
Yeah, that's true.
she was very rarely used until her rework in the pro scene, and
right.
and I think the argument that needs to be made is like, first of all, there's a lot of more powerful ways to save your team in this game now than
Yeah,
rezzing
especially
them.
now with the sound barrier basically making everybody immortal for 4 seconds.
Yeah, I think that it's a lot. It's, I think the big benefit of the workshop is that it'll make it very clear with mass res, that it's at this point, if it had stayed in the game, it would have gotten power crept so hard they would have had to buff it. Like,
I would have argued that we would have everybody complaining about a quad support meta instead of a goat meta. I would have argued that differently, but my point would be, she just needs a small buff. I seen another high Nirvana, something like that. She plays Mercy at Grandmaster level, and she often ranks up her alt account, which plays in Diamond, and she just shows people that Mercy's still fun and
yes, but
still
it's
viable as heck.
Oh yeah,
but-
I mean, no one's denying that she's viable. The issue is, again, related to the fact that the vast majority of the player base plays very casually, and for the casual player, Mercy has very little to offer. It's very,
Well,
'cause-
that's what it seems on the surface, of course, until you start investing into the character, using your super jump. That's actually one of the most.
Oh my
fun
God, the
things
super
you
jump
can
is
do.
so good.
but that's exactly what I mean. It's like once you're playing in like a high ranked competitive environment, yeah, she can be fine. But if you just wanna play with your friends in like quick play or arcade, she's not nearly as rewarding or engaging. And
What you're doing is being the guardian angel and actually enabling your DPS. Occasionally, you're Reinhardt when he fire strikes, but you can't really do beam. Blue beam has to be touching him when he uses fire strike.
yeah, I know.
But you're still enabling the idea that now it comes down to a different argument of do I want to scratch the surface and not really invest into the character, or do I want to learn fundamental, a new fundamental super jump?
Well, I can tell you from what I've seen of, the few things I've seen of Xavi's gameplay, is that she has a very good understanding of the character, but she plays casually. Xavi, the person who asked the question before.
Oh, definitely. I would just say just give her a little buff, give her a buff, or just I would maybe. This is pushing it for me. Maybe make her res on a shorter, not in shorter cooldown, shorter cast time.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. A lot of people don't like how clunky the res feels. It's very
I'm used to it.
awkward.
When I started playing Mercy again, and it took me about full days to get used to it, and I didn't feel as clunky. Maybe it's the nostalgia of having the Mercy meta instant res. You're Genji flying in 1v6ing with this Dragon Blade, and then you can just res them, and then you can just res them again if you don't get punished.
Yeah, but I don't think that we're even talking about when she was meta. I think a lot of people are talking about before that,
No. I'm just being
the mass res.
It's clunky compared to what
Yeah,
we had.
I know what you mean. Yeah, exactly. I think
That's what I'm trying to say.
I think that it's very important, though, that a lot of the players who love Mercy connected with Mercy when she still had mass res. And the issue is that even not only with those players, but even the newer players, a lot of people, when they're told, hey, play Mercy, they kind of roll their eyes, and they're just like, okay. I'll
That's
I'll
with any.
I'll-
I'll bet you.
I'll kind of
probably
just
bet-
I'll kind of spectate mode here.
Well, it's spectate mode if you're a new player. I can definitely acknowledge that. If or you're newer and you're not really you're into the casual scene and you don't really know how like things work.
But that's what I'm saying.
I
Most
think-
people are like that. So the game isn't fun,
90% of people are like that. You have to remember that. Like,
and that's why a lot of people have issue with Mercy right now, because that's how they experience the character.
I don't know if your friend was wanting an answer of a rework or something, but I'm gonna have to sadly, like, I don't know. My friend had told me that you guys were really big enthusiasts with her about the rework movement and everything, and I kudos to the rework movement, because it would be fun to play Mercy in a new different way. But I just say give her a small buff. That's all I just say for the rework or thing I would do. Not exactly I don't know exactly what I would have to like sit down and start thinking, or maybe you can just fire up the workshop and start like testing there. Then you can start advocating for that new idea with the workshop, and then Blizzard can adopt it. I would be totally for that, but with the characters you have told me, I've just been saying nah. I feel bad.
No, it's fine. No, I absolutely get it. I think
I'm actually gonna swoop in, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Because I suppose I do have a very different outlook on why I'm personally within Rework Mercy, which I've gone through briefly, but I just haven't said online, like on here. So the reason why I'm on Rework Mercy isn't because of the whole like fun movement. It's actually more of a design. Pardon?
Oh, sorry. That it seems that from what Steph told me, my friend told me, basically told me that's what 90% of people say is more the fun movement, which is interesting. But go ahead, continue.
Okay, so I do agree that like this movement is basically kind of built from the ashes from the concept of fun. But the reason why I don't really touch upon it is because you have really good examples between just off the top of my head, Hashi and Luminum, who are two very, very good Mercy players, however, have radically different opinions on the character. So Hashi's very much like, this character is not fun, she's not impactful, etc., etc. Lumini is very on the opinion of she's fine, she is very impactful, etc., etc. But I can't really get on my high horse and say which one is right and which one's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't personally touch that subject with a 10-feet pole. Where I actually come from is more on a case of, I think Mercy's kit as a design standpoint, and this is where I normally come from, is very like, okay, we have to look at what Mercy is. She's a beginner hero, and I don't think that's a taboo to say that she's for beginners.
Yeah, that's
however,
look at the star rating. Yeah, that's what Blizzard came out and said. Like,
I don't think that's a taboo to say that she is a beginner's hero, that she is kind of like set out to be, to introduce people into Overwatch. And where I really come from is, does a hero that's meant to be for beginners, meant to have this big of a kit? So her kit is actually very, very large for what she actually does. So that's kind of where I come from, is that like, I don't think her... Yeah, it's like she does many, many things. She has like roughly around
poorly. Or underwhelmingly.
She has like roughly 9 or 10 abilities in her kit.
Yeah.
But most of which are passives, which is like a conversation for another day. So where I come from is there a way, and that's why I'm on Rework Mercy, because I just don't think a buff is going to solve my personal issue with how she's handled, is there a way of tightening up this kind of like having her have like 10 abilities, most of which are passives?
Yeah.
In order to make her feel and work a little better at the job that she's meant to do, which is to be a beginner healer and hero in general, to support and etc., etc.
Yeah.
If that makes
I think
bit of sense.
And I think what's important to note though is that just because a hero is beginner doesn't mean they should be bad at high ranks, though. I think that
Oh yeah.
she.
Like I said, I don't want I don't think saying that she's a beginner hero and she's an easy hero
I
is
get what you
is necessarily like a bad thing.
Doesn't mean she has a low skill ceiling.
It's just-
I know what you mean.
I'm more saying that like this is I'm one of those people who are like simplicity is best. You know, like you don't have to overcomplicate things, and I feel like with Mercy's kit and specifically with this rework, her like current iteration is just a bit overcomplicated for her job, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's so your point of view is very similar to, again, my kind of thing with Bastion, where it's like, yeah, I mean, fun is very subjective, and he has places where he certainly can work, but the issue is, if you rework him, you can make it so that he is kind of better for everyone, sort of. Like, that's
kinda, yeah. It's akin to it. I suppose it's more of a case of like, I just think her kit is just far too big for what she's actually doing in the middle of the fight.
But you're saying like,
but yeah,
if she's simpler, she's easier to learn, and she's more effective at high ranks. Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm.
Agree with that. If you're playing a 2-2-2 with Diet Comp, or if you want to put in a bunker with a Baptiste, I agree with that. I just thought of this. The people who are saying that she's not fun and everything, new beginner players. Okay, we could say definitely 90% of the people are just casual players. I definitely agree with that. But they probably do not know that they're supposed to be listening to cues and everything like Genji's. You hear a Genji coming at climbing up the wall. You can basically hear it. With the tip I gave you, but they're not looking for flankers. They're not thinking about more high level stuff. That's due to Blizzard not, Blizzard's just okay, this is how you do this button does that, this and that. Okay, cool. Get in there, play what you want. It's really Blizzard's fault for not introducing to their people into this is the tank role, this is what they do, this is how you play them.
I agree with that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I do.
I feel like the argument can be made to basically my counter argument to your being to the casuals of Mercy's not fun or this character's not fun just due to the lack of understanding of how complex the game is, and that's totally on Blizzard's fault.
Well, I think the issue though, really specifically with Mercy and Bastion though, is the fun aspect is more related to the fact that the heroes themselves are very subject to things beyond their control, basically. It's
what do you mean? Mercy has a 2-second I can fly anywhere, and I can fly super high if I wanted to ability. So
that's what I mean. But she has to always fly to a teammate, so they have to basically she's reliant somewhat on her teammates to basically have that basic function. And it's the same with Bastion, where he's basically fully reliant on your team knowing how to work with a Bastion and being willing to work with a Bastion to operate on the most basic level.
In a higher rank, it's just tolerated. It's toleration and just they're playing goats. Let's put bunker, fucking punish them. Yeah, I could definitely say that. But with Mercy, I wouldn't. Okay, this just gave me a really cool idea to tell your friend. I would change her Guardian Angel to more of a leap ability where she can just do it without a teammate. I would basically give her that.
Raise the cooldown to 5 seconds, like Hanzo's jump.
Maybe, I don't know. Or
that's the price you'd have to pay.
Or you could just make it an additional sort of thing. Which is what I would do.
You
shouldn't try to.
Yeah, exactly.
She should have less abilities instead of more, for sure.
Well, yeah, I think
that's exactly where I was coming from. Is that there's nothing like I said, I'm not really touching on the issue of fun. It's more of a case of I just don't think her kit is it just shouldn't be as big as it is for what she actually does currently, which is kind of here. Here.
I would also say though that if the kit flows together better, it can still be complex. But
yes.
but
And
her
that's true.
kit
And when you
doesn't
look at
flow.
it, like,
Her kit doesn't flow at all.
but it makes sense though.
very
Like, from a
clunky.
design perspective, it makes very good sense. Like, she needs to be able to slow fall so she can fly to people.
Yes.
And she can like slow fall out of Valk, and then like
You mean
the self heal is important because she has no way to self heal.
Exactly.
which is the only character that can't self heal?
Out of the
I can't think
supports,
Yeah.
no, not Baptiste. Zenyatta. Zenyatta can't self heal.
No, he regens.
But that's not self healing though. He
But that's
regens
not
after
that's
like 4
shields.
seconds.
If you take health damage, he can't.
It's technically healing, but you're still getting more HP.
Well, yeah,
That's the way I'm looking.
It's
I'm
more
gonna-
like a regeneration of his shields rather than healing. So if it goes below his base
Yeah.
health, he won't.
If he
have
goes
return.
below 50 health,
Yeah, yeah. Below 50 health, he does not have a self heal. Okay, that's the only nuance I can think of, unless I'm wrong. That'll be really weird if I'm wrong about this because I pretty much played.
no, that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's all I can think of.
Which is probably why she needs to have that passive. Yeah, like, I guess it kind of makes sense for Mercy's kit to be so disjunct because she's so easy to play, and like she has like nuances that you do need to learn and put a lot of time into learning. So it would make sense for her to have like 1,000 things that she can do, a bunch of little things that add up to make something bigger. So I can see what they're going for.
Doesn't work though.
But the problem is with like the big
I hate
question
that
is
thing.
Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
I
what's wrong with
personally,
Valkyrie?
I think, personally, I don't have really any conflicting, like, thoughts on Valkyrie. It's fine. Like, I don't really have that much of an issue with it, but that's kind of where I was coming from. Is that like the inherent design of like having 10 fucking abilities kind of clashes when her ultimate is meant to be like a jacked up version of Mercy.
Yeah, her ultimate is literally just, I'm going to fly up here, I'm going to hold down this button, and I'm going to dodge bullets. Like, it's...
Hey, if you try
Well,
doing that.
I was
Okay.
I was
try
more
doing that
referencing-
when Widowmakers having your scopes.
Yeah,
I was
I know.
more referencing.
That's true, but I mean, last time I saw a
I dare-
Widowmaker hit a flying Mercy was probably weeks ago.
No. What I see lower ranks do is especially just like stay up in the air, stationary, and holding their yellow beam, and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
That's exactly it. And that's why that's why it's so boring.
No, that's them playing incorrectly. Valkyrie, you're supposed to use them around cover before an engagement.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's how
People-
90% of the player
People
base
say
plays.
it's not fun because they're not playing them correctly. That's how I see it. They're not playing they're using her correctly to engage within a team fight. It's not meant to. It's not meant to rapidly hit like a Lucio alter, like rapidly save your team. It's more meant to engage.
Well, yeah, but I'd
with-
say that the right way to play a hero is dependent on what kind of skill level you want to be at.
I mean, I think this is gonna sound impressive, but I think pretty much grandmasters and like masters and above, and even diamond, pretty much have an understanding how to play like at least one hero.
Yeah, I mean, but that's in the competitive sense. I think that if there's a lot of people who they're like, I'm satisfied to be in gold, and they want to play what works in gold, and that's if they don't want to climb, that's on them. They just want to enjoy gold as much as you can do that.
Well, I played gold. That's so. I can't really see the fun in that.
Yeah, Jazz, go ahead.
Could I just like finish on the point that
Sorry,
I was like
yeah.
trying to say?
Sorry.
It's alright. It's alright. I was more saying that like the early days of Valkyrie. So like, remember when she first launched?
Yeah.
Oh
So-
my god.
Yeah,
The
nano
problem
boosted.
the problem is with a hero that has 10 abilities for some fucking reason, then gets an ultimate that's basically her on heroin. Do you know, like with this massive amount, like
Yeah.
all 10 abilities hyped up to shit, then you result in like what, 7 fucking nerfs in a row?
Wrong
17
drugs.
Exactly. Valkyrie's been the issue the whole time, and that's why. Because it's just a better
that's
version
kinda
of what she
where
has.
That's where I was coming from with the whole like I have an issue with how big her kit is because it's kind of linked to Valkyrie being oh yeah, let's just
do everything
hype her
better.
up to, yeah, and that's kind of an issue when you have 10 different abilities.
And that's what I
That's kind
think.
of where I was.
that's why I think Rez is a better fit for an ultimate, because it's like it does one thing, and so you can have a lot of abilities, but if your Rez is just ult, or if your ult is just Rez, it's just like, okay, I rezzed. The rest of my kit isn't suddenly better.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Now, this is coming from someone who doesn't necessarily think Master Rez should come, but I do agree with the sentiment of the reason why Rez kind of suited her better and why it's not really suited for a cooldown specifically is because it's not really great having a hero with 10 different abilities to be suddenly way more powerful, because as I've said, like, if you have 10 abilities, that's fine. Well, okay, it's not fine to me, but like, whatever. But like, when you jack that shit up, you get 17 nerfs progressively.
Yeah, exactly.
But with Mass Res, it's just a simple, you do this. And like I said, I don't think Mass Res should come back, but I think Res is a better suit for an ultimate.
Personally, I don't think Mass Res is the best answer. I wouldn't be upset if it came back. I don't think it's the best answer.
Yeah, everybody has PTS, like, pretty much, like, it was pretty much, to be honest, it was pretty much the lower type of spec who were complaining about Mass Res being
and Siegel for some reason.
And yeah.
Oh, exactly. Okay.
That clip makes me furious.
Then they did it 180 instead. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, exactly what happened with the history of Mass Res? Here's a quick one. Mass Res introduced. People in lower ranks were complaining that Mass Res was too powerful, obviously because they don't understand, not feeding, not ulting at the same time, etc. Which is understandable, that's their rank. But it was a problem. The problem then increased to a higher margin of players because Immortality was then introduced. So more people were experiencing this exact same problem, and then more complaints came out, and that's why it was changed.
Hey, if they would have met, I'll give you this. Okay, Steph is gonna kill me, but if they would have nerfed Mass Res where you need line of sight, we wouldn't have need for a rework.
Nope, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
Change my mind. I can't.
I think that's exactly what they needed to do, and I think even then she might have just needed a slight bit of utility or something on an E ability, but other than that, I think she was fine. And the big issue is that there was so many things they could have done to make the ability better, but what they did instead is they kind of ripped away what made the hero special for basically more than half of the people who play her.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but that's really up to the Blizzard them fucking up.
Yeah, it is. Exactly.
Like even when season 10, when Brig launched, untouched basically.
From the PTR, yeah. Oh my god.
Basically, it's really them just fucking up, and with people using that character, and people who don't want to use that character get abused. It's really down to do I want to play this character, or or do I find this character fun? It's really that dilemma then. But as I said, like multiple times, small, nothing too drastic or anything.
But I mean,
she's fine what she is.
That's what I mean. I think if you want to both make her balanced and, quote unquote, give her back to her player base, the people who feel like they had that taken away from them for really no reason when there were a lot of other.
I'm already thinking about the people who abuse Mass Res, and like they're behind a wall and they're like, free SR.
Yeah, I had issue with that, but that's why I think a lot of the reworks with Bastion and Mercy are both sort of like, they can simultaneously make the character more balanced and more enjoyable with a rework, and I think that's
hey guys
sort of the point.
Hey guys.
Yeah?
My conference call was canceled, so I'm pretty much
I may have to go in a few minutes, but
Okay.
we'll see.
I
Do we-
definitely need to
Is there a
head
particular
soon.
subject you want me to answer?
I already asked.
Rapid fire. Do we have any?
Okay, go, boom, boom.
Okay.
Anything?
The one question I would say is, a lot of people always ask, what should you do to get to GM? Let me ask, what shouldn't you do?
Oh my, what? Okay, that tip I gave was really good. That's something. That's just like overall gameplay. What sense? Because there's multiple ways to get GM. You can just practice aim hero and OSU and watch a whole bunch of YouTube guides and basically the time to play GM. So what level are you?
I mean, like, from a strategic level. Not a mechanical level.
Wait, not mechanical and what?
Strategic, not mechanical.
Oh, strategic. I don't know if your audience likes Overwatch League, but basically watch the pros and to watch how they play their characters and just take mental notes of their play styles and
Okay.
try to adopt it as your own. Or watch a streamer who plays, let's say non-mechanical. Let's take Reinhardt for example. You would watch Excuse.
I would probably watch
Clone
Clone Man, yeah.
and also watch a whole bunch of guides
Yeah.
for Game Sense. For Game Sense, I would just watch basically a whole bunch of YouTube videos or just play this game a shit ton.
Alright, well, that's, I guess there's really no secrets, you just gotta practice. So,
Well, not practice, but just
learn.
pretty much just
Adapt and
learn.
learn.
Yep.
Yeah, basically adapt and learn for Game Sense.
Yep.
For positioning, it just pretty much comes naturally to like what play style you want to adopt.
Yep.
And then for mechanical, is just doing the reps.
Alright, well, that makes sense to me. You guys have any more
Of course.
questions?
No, I think that adequately wraps up this most messy and slightly heated installment of BBB.
Yeah,
I mean,
I feel like
didn't feel it was
Caliburr is
slightly
a...
heated.
No, we had a good time. I feel like Caliburr is a guy that we should have maybe every once in a while, as for help.
All right.
But yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for listening, everyone. It was great having you, Caliburr.
Sorry for having an anxiety attack at the beginning. Like I just like completely blanked out and started having anxiety.
Oh no, it's fine.
Oh, that's
I have
all right.
anxiety. I get it. But yeah, it's great to have you. I hope we can eventually find more opportunities for you to come on and do your thing. But
Yeah. I'm really old-fashioned, so I'm keeping to my simple 3 channels of the outside world. I don't like disclosing my Twitter or anything, but
Yep.
you have my email, and
I know you're
you
not.
have my email.
Yep.
If you want to talk to me, just let me know, and yeah, I guess take care, gents and
Yep.
lady.
In that case, well, that's it. So Godspeed you all, and I guess we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.